The criminal justice system costs us billions and billions of dollars because in so many cases, in so many states, in so many situations, people are doing their time in prison, but not really getting to the point where they go out and never commit a crime again.
Dr. Cheryl Clark has devoted her life to prison reform. She is known for her groundbreaking program, Shock Incarceration. Today, former inmates and prison staff express their gratitude for the work of Dr. Clark and speak about the positive impact the program has had on their lives. She is an outspoken critic of the overall prison system and is devoted to continuing her legacy of bringing meaningful change.
I've got sort of an insider view, but what I saw was how remarkable it is that you're touching the corrections officers as well as the inmates. You're changing the way we relate to the people that society's thrown away, and the people we pay to keep them locked up have taken on a whole different role. That's just remarkable to see that.
It's not about correcting behavior, it's about helping somebody learn to be the person that they were meant to be.
We change lives. We change lives.
Who calls back to jail? Who writes a letter back to jail? Who calls you 20 years later and says, I'm doing great, I just wanted to let you know?
For the first time in the country's history, a staggering 1 in 100 Americans are in prison. Now the number is 2.3 million. There are people who come to us who've been told, you're stupid, you'll never amount to anything, you're a dumbass. They come to us out of that experience. They come to us out of an environment that says, you better not get the right answer, I will cut you.
Everything we do has a distinct purpose behind it. We don't just say, sir, yes, sir, just for the hell of it. And if you follow the plan, in 6 months, you're going to think before you act.
So everything we do, every action we take, the way we speak, the way we carry ourselves, the way we move in and out of the classroom, the way we start the day with PT, drill and ceremony, all of it is part of this total learning environment.
That we do things like community meeting and confrontation in a caring community when the parolees have an opportunity to confront certain behaviors that are destructive to that individual and to the life of the program and to the people around them.
They're given certain directions to have a different outlook on those people that have hurt them, but more importantly, how they've hurt other people.
We find the buttons that are easy to push and say, okay, here's one of your soft spots. Toughen this up, and nothing's going to be able to tip you over when you get out on the street.
And then to see them slowly but surely realize that they can. Realize that they can dream again. Realize that they can accomplish things they never did before. There's nothing like seeing a light bulb go off. And some of them have lived in a world of you can't, you shouldn't, and don't. And we teach them you can, you should, and try.
They truly only get 12 hours of education a week. And in that short amount of time, you can see them jump 5 grade levels. It's incredible.
But if you save one person from coming back to jail, you know, everything's worth it then. I feel I do something. I make a difference.
Shock Incarceration was designed back in the late 80s to be a program that would give young nonviolent offenders an opportunity to completely transform their lives. It was based on an earlier program that I had designed and was a model that accounted for all dimensions of a human being: the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual dimensions. Now, when I say spiritual, I don't mean religious. I simply mean that essence of who we are as human beings, which is made up of who we are in our bodies, how we feel about the things that have happened to us in our lives, what we think, and how we act as a result of that. They did want to know about success. They did want to know about how to change their patterns. They wanted to know how to manage their lives in a more effective way and had sought it out. So Shock was a natural evolution. It went from being in the network program, one housing unit in a correctional facility for a small number of inmates, to a total correctional institution and a total learning environment within that corrections institution. One of the things we learned in the course of observing other programs as well is that every staff person who's working in a facility that has one of these total learning environments needs to understand what's going on in other aspects. So when we trained people, we trained everybody in the environment. We trained officers, drill instructors, superintendents, cooks, teachers, counselors, everybody who worked in the total learning environment sat in a training and was part of a group experience that took them through experientially everything that they would be taking the inmates through. So just as the program for inmates involves their physical knowledge, their mental acuity, their emotional stability, the discipline of the program, and the essence of who they are as a human being, so too that has to happen with staff first. They're the role models for the program. They're not just the teachers, they model every attitude, every experience, every feeling that an inmate has going through the program. It's essential to make that investment. The criminal justice system costs us billions and billions of dollars because in so many cases, in so many states, in so many situations, people are doing their time in prison, but not really getting to the point where they go out and never commit a crime again. Now, people in shock incarceration do the same thing, but the success rate of these offenders who are going through this program, the whole comprehensive program that taught them how to think, that taught them strategies for success, that taught them how to manage their own situations, resulted in cost savings just to the state of New York alone of more than $1 billion by 2004, $1 billion in one state by the year 2004. And by the time I retired in 2010, more than $1.4 billion in cost savings. These are people who come into this program and learn how to live successful lives. I have so many stories of so many graduates who have gone out and succeeded beyond all expectations, including their own.
There's confidence to be found there. I am confident that I will not reoffend.
Definitely, shock was a very intricate part of me getting on track, getting my life together. And if my mother is somewhere looking, she's gonna see and be proud, because I'm not going back to that life anymore, and it's been over 20 years. So.
The world is a safer place right now, believe me, with me living the life I'm living. I absolutely, I don't feel like it. I know I am. I'm rehabilitated. I don't even think the way I used to think.
Shock incarceration saved my life. No question about it. No question about it. I'd be dead or in jail, no question about it.
These people, the day-to-day workers, the ones who are working at their regular jobs and earning a living, are doing incredible things and never going back to prison. And we've got stats that show people have been out as long as 26, 27 years since they first graduated and are still being phenomenally successful. And their job might have started at Burger King, but they're running companies today. People used to joke with me about the fact that I said every prison could be a place of learning. And that's not even true for every inmate, although I do think everybody who goes in, no matter what their state is, learns something from prison. Some people learn the wrong lesson. In a total learning environment, the odds are so much higher that they will learn what they need to know to go out and live a successful life, to learn what they need to do to take responsibility for their own lives and the lives of their families. So that would be the action I would say to the average citizen. Take responsibility in your neighborhoods for making sure that there are total learning environments in the prisons that affect your neighborhood. Because somebody's coming home, and the average length of time that they come home is 22 months. So the average prisoner, now this is not talking about people doing life in prison without possibility of parole, they're a whole different category. They too can learn in that environment. However, we're talking about the guy, the kid, by and large, the young offender who's coming home after an average of 22 months. In shock incarceration, they were coming back in 6 months when they graduated and successful, and never going back to prison again. So in the course of the video that you've just seen, you're seeing people who went into this program and are leaders in their community, are people who are making very, very significant contributions. So that's the action that I would urge for everybody. See that we get more total learning environments in every institution. Experienced that it worked. They didn't like it at first. Nobody comes to training and say, oh boy, I'm coming for a month of training. If they do, I worry about them because it means there's something not all the way wired right. I mean, most people come to training and think, oh my God. I particularly love the people I call the pet rocks, the people who sit there and dare you. I mean, that first security manager, Dennis Thompson, who God rest his soul, but Dennis Thompson sat there through the first network training in January of 1979, looking at me like, what is this broad going to pull over on my shift? You know, by the time I left, he had given me one of my first awards in corrections. By the time he moved on from, he gave me, he watched me do something in Bedford Hills that just astounded him. And he called up all of his friends and said, that woman's got more balls than any correction officer I've ever seen. He gave me an Amelia Earhart doll and a badge, one of his badges. And he said, you're my hero, because I know what it's like to be somebody who can't learn. So that's why we do it. You know, Maziki will say, I got a GED. He has a high school diploma, but he was so smart, but he was one of those kids who couldn't learn either. And so, you know, we come out of knowing that struggle. So we both know how to teach. We know how to teach people who really can't learn. Did he tell you the story of the light pole? I got to tell you the story. Let me just get myself together. He can do more in 2 minutes to change somebody's frame than anybody I've ever seen. It's a phenomenon. So I'm walking past a group of inmates one day on the grinder, on the PT deck. And I see this young woman who's standing there in line, and I'm looking at her, and she's looking all over the place. And she's carrying a tray. Now, well-meaning people give them learning experiences that are designed to have them think about it, but they can't, they just can't. There are some people who just can't learn this way. So she's got this tray in front of her, and I said, what are you doing? She's looking all over the place, and she's in formation. Now, they're told no eyeballing in formation. So that means don't be looking around. Now, some people take that to the extreme. They tell you no eyeballing in the classroom. Well, you've got to eyeball in. You've got to do stuff in the classroom. You've got to move around in the classroom, or you can't learn. But in formation, that's a good time, and it really does affect the neurons and the synapses and the dendrites and all these. I can talk about this. It's really fun to do that with some people who are saying, why are you doing it this way? But you really are repatterning the neural pathways of their brain with some of these things. So she's got this tray that says, please help me not to eyeball. Okay, so, because she had been in shock at this point when I met her 11 months in a 6-month program, because she would get removed, she got recycled, she got kicked out completely. And the thing is, she is one of the most serious cases of ADHD I've ever seen. She literally couldn't get herself together, you know. So I said, I don't get it. You got this tray in your hand to help you remember, and you're looking at me. But she just gets distracted. So I said, do you know where you're supposed to look? She said, ma'am, this means not supposed to eyeball. I said, what does that mean? I said, mate doesn't really know. You know, because they're told not to use I, me, mine, because you can say I, me, mine without thinking. You need to think in order to say inmate Johnson, inmate Clark. So I said to her, see that woman right in front of you? Ma'am, yes, ma'am. I said, see her collar? Right there. And I'm pointing to the collar. And I said, keep your eyes right there. Oh. Nobody thought, because there are some people that this stuff comes easy for. But most of the people we're working with, it doesn't come easy for. So I said, I'll tell you what. I said, I want you to go see Superintendent Musicki. I said, because he will, I didn't know what he was going to do, but I knew he would do whatever he would get her. Because I've seen him in 2 minutes shift somebody's whole frame of reference, and they don't lose it. So I said, go see Superintendent Musicki. He's standing right over there. Ma'am, am I in trouble? I said, nope, you're not in trouble. I said, you go there and you say to him, sir, inmate so-and-so reporting as ordered by Dr. Clark. I said, can you remember that? Say that to me. So she goes, inmate so-and-so reporting as ordered by Dr. Clark. I said, okay. I said, or just say, sir, Dr. Clark told me to come see you. Yes, ma'am. So I said, go over there and see him. So he looks at me and he sees the inmate coming toward me and he goes, so he knows that I'm sending another one to him. So she comes running over there and he says, why are you coming to see me? Sir, Dr. Clark told me to come see you. Why'd she tell you to come see me? Sir, this inmate doesn't know. He says, well, what's the problem? What were you doing? He said, what's this? She still has her tray. He says, eyeballing. You're eyeballing? Information? Sir, yes, sir. He says, huh. And she thinks I'm going to do something. Sir, yes, sir. Sir, this inmate's not in trouble, is she? No, you're not in trouble. He says, tell me, how long you been in the program? 11 months. So he goes, oh my God. And she says, this inmate's about to get thrown out again, sir. And he goes, now, I couldn't do 6 months of shock incarceration. This woman has already done 11. Okay? God bless her. So she's there. He says, you see that light pole there? So we have like these 25-foot light poles. He says, you see that light pole there? Sir, yes, sir. He says, you see how it's just standing there still? Sir, yes, sir. He says, that light pole can see everything that's happening in this facility. And how's it standing? She does the light pole. He says, that's what you got to do. Be a light pole. Sir, be a light pole. Can you do that? Sir, yes, sir. He says, give me that tray. So he takes the tray away from her because she can't be a light pole holding a tray. So she's standing there being a light pole. He says, see me next Tuesday. Sir, yes, sir. She was a light pole. She finished the program in 2 months. She was a light pole. That was it. It's that. Be a light pole. And every Tuesday, she'd report to him. I used to call it his Tuesday list. And I'd put people on his Tuesday list that I'd find. And I mean, there's hundreds of stories about this. I'll have to think about it for a while, but hundreds of stories. But be a light pole. That was it. That was the intervention. Be a light pole. And we'd check on her. Being a light pole, ma'am, yes, ma'am. And she had a great time. And she started hearing and loving what she was learning, because she was able to do it. Be a light pole. So, all the time. Remember praying those prayers? God, I swear, you're sitting there in this handcuffs and shackles and chains, and you're saying, God, I swear, if you get me out of this, I'll never do it again. I said, we are the answer to those prayers. Here we are. The drill instructors, the counselors, the teachers, all the people who are going to be working with you in Shock, they're the answer to your prayers. Show me how to do this better. And then finally, practice. Practice the principles in all of our affairs. And there are, the traditional way that the 12 steps are written, people keep trying to rewrite them. There's plenty of different ways to talk about them, because there are people who say, you can't talk about the 12 steps, it's separation of church and state. It's on our money. In God We Trust is in every courtroom in the United States. It's not that we are proselytizing religion. We are saying we are founded on a series of principles that are bigger than ourselves alone. Anytime we get into trouble, we're focusing on ourselves alone. Anytime we're moving in the right direction, we can handle any obstacle when we focus on that which is bigger than ourselves. And so that's the whole point of Shock Incarceration. That's the principles of synergetics. That's the 12 steps to recovery. And it's the 5 steps to decision making. See your situation clearly. Know what you want. When you're pointing, I want this, I want this, I want that, like the little kid, know what you want. Be very clear, because I need to clean up my act. I need to pay attention to what's in it for me. Why would I bother to change? What works that I would want to change? Who are the other people who are involved as I begin to make this change? And where am I going from here? So there's an X that we use as that symbol for know what you want. Expand your possibilities. Now here's one. Excuse me if I offend anybody. It is not this. That limits your possibilities. They are omni-interaccommodative generalized principles. Spin, orbit, expansion, contraction. See your situation clearly, know what you want, expand your possibilities. Come up with as many possible ways, because I'll tell you something, as soon as you make a commitment to change, there's going to be a challenge. Are you sure? Do you really want to do this? As soon as we say, I want things to be different, there's going to be a no. Now, there are many famous examples. Thomas Edison with his log of 10,000 ways he tried to invent the light bulb. Okay, you have to be able to handle no. So all no means is try another way. Find another way. So I look at that and I expand my possibilities. Most people stop at 3. I could do this, or I could do that. Oh, that didn't work. Huh. Well, never mind. I got to keep expanding my possibilities. Then I evaluate. I evaluate, and it's on the ring finger on purpose because it's my connection to my heart. Okay? When I evaluate, I have to see what moves me. I have to see what it is that pulls me to commit to this no matter what, because it's got to be something that will keep me focused. So I can get a grip on my own life by taking responsibility for my life. And that's the whole purpose of shock incarceration.
It's not about correcting behavior, it's about helping somebody learn to be the person that they were meant to be.
We change lives. We change lives.
Who calls back to jail? Who writes a letter back to jail? Who calls you 20 years later and says, I'm doing great, I just wanted to let you know?